5 tests you must do before you get married. And if you are married, you need to watch this video so you can know what to do in case you might have married without even undergoing this test. Because this is one of the major problems a lot of people are facing. It is one of the major things that is making a lot of people not to get pregnant, or a lot of people to get pregnant and at the end they'll undergo miscarriage, or they'll give birth to their child and after 1 month, 2 months, their child will go and they'll be wondering what's causing it. They'll think it's spiritual problems. But it's not spiritual problem, it's because you fail to carry out most of these tests. And again, most people might be having problems in their marriages and they will not even know that it's because they didn't carry out some of these tests, and that's why they're having some of the problems they are having. So you need to watch this video on the tests you need to do before you get married so you can know how to do them one after the other and you have a successful and enjoyable marriage. Now, the first test you must do is blood grouping and resource factor incompatibility testing. You need to check yourselves to know if your resource factor is compatible with that of your partner. And how can you know this? Now, if your husband is A positive, AB positive, O positive, and you are O negative, AB negative, B negative, A negative, it means your resource factor is not compatible because he's having a resource factor on his blood and you are not having a resource factor in your blood. And there will be serious problem if you don't manage this condition when you notice it early. And that's why you must check for resource factor incompatibility so you can be aware of it as a couple before you go into it. The second thing you must check as a couple is fertility testing. You need to check yourself to know if you're fertile. As a man, you need to check yourself to know if your sperm cells are healthy. As a woman, you need to check yourself to know if you're ovulating and if you're ovulating healthy eggs, because you might be releasing eggs and the eggs might not be healthy. And in this case, you can manage it early enough before you get into marriage. As a man, if your sperm count is low, if your motility is low, if you're having problems with your sperm, you can manage it before you get into marriage. Before you get into marriage and start complaining, blaming yourselves without even knowing what is causing it. And you might even have so many tensions, you might be panicking, you might be depressed because of this issue. So you need to make sure you check for all of this before you get into marriage. The third thing you must check is STI. STI is one of the major problems of so many people and they might not even know. Now you need to check yourself for HIV, hepatitis B and so many infections like that so you can be aware of it, and when you notice you have any of this infection, you can relate it to your partner. So your partner can start taking medications, because there are ways you can prevent your partner from getting some of these infections when you notice it at early stage. Take for an example, you have hepatitis B and you inform your partner that you have hepatitis B. There are medications you can take. There are vaccines you will take to prevent himself from getting infected with it even when he have married you as a woman. And there are medications you can also take to help yourself. And your husband will also join you in managing this condition without stress. But when you don't let him know, you might end up having the infections together and you might not be able to manage it together. And that's why you must check for STI before you get into marriage. The fourth thing you must all check is mental health state. You need to check your partner's mental capacity, your partner's mental state, because some people might be depressed, they might be having some kind of psychological problems, and when you are not aware of them, it might cause problem in your marriage. So you need to make sure you take your partner to a mental therapist so they can check him, test him to know his mental state before you get into marriage. And the last test you must do, which is the fifth test you must do, is genotype compatibility. You need to check your partner to know if your partner is having a genotype that is compatible with that of yours. And if it's not compatible, gingerly work out of that relationship, because if you enter into that marriage, you might end up suffering your children. Your children might be AS. They might be SS. If they are AS, they are carriers. It might be kind of fair, but when they are SS, it's a very serious problem that could cause the life of these children. It can make them to be suffering throughout their life. And that's why you must not go into marriage. You need to check for all these tests I've mentioned in case you are planning to go into marriage. And if you're into marriage, you need to know what to do so they can manage this condition. I hope this information helps. If you find it very helpful, please do well to follow my page. Also, drop your questions in the comment section so I can be there to respond to them as soon as possible. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time.